What up, boys? Son Dad back again. I know we voted last night on what we were going to do for the dungeon today, and y'all trolled me and voted Motherload, but I don't have any footage of Motherload, so get fucked. We're doing Waycrest.
Oh shit, I have loaded.
Here we go. Mute this. Ignore that I forgot to spec back into Alacrity after I loaded dice. Just ignore that. Okay? And I'm pretty sure we got top left this run. So, this pull, Outlaw is just like good damage. Stuns help on soul essences to keep Scar Souls from going off, and obviously you have kick, but nothing crazy here. Not usually worth gouging casts. This is just kind of a whatever pull. We'll let this play out before we start skipping around. It's very good with bursting. Like, if bursting had been shitty there, I could have cloaked if we had gotten the 7 stack. And just having cloak for those situations this week is very good. So there's a witch here, there's a guard, and there's a disciple. Disciple Outlaw is very good because you can get a lot of the casts. Spellbind is the one that recasts. So you want to kick Spellbind, and then you can use Gouge or Stuns on the other two. You can also use Torrent to get the Spectral Talisman. So we go into this pull, and I say I will Gouge as either Ritual every time, and then we start calling kicks on the Disciple. The Guard, Outlaw is just nice because he increased melee range, so you shouldn't get hit by Cleaves, and you won't lose damage for it. And Rune Weaver, Etch is typically you just let Etch cast. Doesn't do very much damage. Sometimes on Fortified, there's situations where you can let it cast if there's nothing else important in the group. Also keep in mind that the witches aren't stunnable, so if you're trying to proc Between the Eyes for Prey on the Weak, you won't be stunning the witches, but you do want your full Between the Eyes damage going into the witches, so it's kind of, you make a judgment call there. So this pull, you just have Burst AoE for the Toads, which is good. And the Acolytes being able to delay cast with Gouge is very good, but definitely not something that's OP per se. Just like while we're watching this, I think Waycrest is actually Outlaw's best dungeon from a damage profile perspective. You should absolutely slap this dungeon on the meters, and then you do have a lot of utility when you get into the other rooms, like the courtyard and Rawl's room. Outlaw's very good. So this boss, you want to be using Blade Flurry to proc wit stacks. You won't be doing a lot of damage to the off targets, but you do want to be Blade Flurrying just for the sake of gaining single target damage. You also want to use your blind before you start this boss, so that you don't blind somebody if you get MC'd. Oh my god, I'm so slow. That Vengeful Retreat, dude. And here you'll be calling kicks. It's a 3-kick rotation if you have a warrior for reflex. I think it's actually a 3-kick rotation without a warrior as well. I just haven't played without a warrior in so long. So, hold on, I'm going to pause here while I talk a little bit. So if you have 4 melee, or if you have 3 melee, you can cover all the kicks. And then you should have your 4th DPS, or your 3rd DPS, your 4th player, just kicking off targets to reduce damage. Just whenever their kick comes off cooldown, just kick one of the witches that you're not currently targeting, and you don't have to call anything about that, you just kick it. It's typically better to interrupt not Briar, because Briar sometimes bugs out and melees other people if she is interrupted and can't cast a spell. So pretty much if Selena's active, you should be kicking Malady. If you're the off-target guy, if Malady's active, you should be kicking Selena. And if Briar's active, you can kick whichever other one you want. I'm in the kick rotation on this pull, pretty sure. And Evade is kicking off targets. But when I am kicking off targets, I'll just set something that I'm not fighting to focus. Usually I'll set Malady to focus on the pull. We'll target Selena. And then as I'm transitioning, before I switch over to Malady, I'll switch my focus to Selena. And then hit Malady, and then vice versa. And then when Selena comes back up, you set your focus to Malady again. Runic Mark's going to come out. You can pre-cloak this to reduce damage, and this is a lot of damage, so you should be pre-cloaking at least one of them. Whether it be the first or the second is up to you. I like to do the first so that I have cloak up for future pulls, or if the fight happens to somehow go long enough that I need it for like a dire ritual at the end. That's that. And then Briar, the mechanic you're worried about is Jagged Nettles. Rogue is actually one of the worst classes. This is like one of Rogue. You'll see me vanish this. Rogue is one of the worst classes at taking the nettles. in like current meta because we don't have like a direct defensive for it. So vanishing it off is certainly the play. And then you hope this doesn't happen. She delayed her next cast of it so long and then cast it right at the end before we transitioned back, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And when you have Nettles up and Selena's active, it's tough to heal. But like Demon Hunter can blur. Druid is actually very good. You bear bark and then renewal yourself because most rest of druids are running renewal in this dungeon. You don't really need wild charge. And obviously monk can touch a karma, or if they're running dampen, they might run diffuse. He probably runs diffuse because it's bursting weak. Diffuse doesn't do anything, but you do run dampen. Or if you do run dampen, you can use that, and karma's all the same. And then the boss plays out, and you just kind of keep doing your damage. But like I said, like this is all single target damage pretty much. But because you have wit sacks the whole time, you own. Which is the first example of why I think Outlaw's damage profile is so sick in here. It's definitely worth running too if you can. Demon Hunter's very good as well, but this is certainly a double rogue monk dungeon. I don't think there's any question about that. We'll just let this play out. I think I'm gonna let the whole dungeon play out, and we'll skip once we get to the courtyard and we start seeing all the mobs, because there's not as many repeat mobs in this dungeon as other dungeons, so skipping around is not gonna be the play. Vanish that off again. Was hoping she would recast before the dire ritual, but she doesn't. This is the same pack, same as the right side. You typically just do one before boss because you want to get into boss as soon as you can to get lust on cooldown, but you also want space to exist so you don't accidentally pull, so you usually do one side. And then guards and captains. So the guards are the Shadowcleave boys. This is the first captain we've seen. Captain has a 12-second cooldown on Spirited Defense. So Outlaw is one of the melee that can solo handle it very easily. Demon Hunter is the other. And I guess Shaman can handle it very simply, but you don't see too many Shaman. You do in EU, but NA is just not hopped on the Ellie Shaman bandwagon yet. I think there's just not enough good Ellie Shamans in the region, as EU has a lot. But anyways, the captain casts Spirited Defense that makes him take reduced damage. It puts a buff on himself. You kick it. And then the second time, he's going to cast before your kick is back up. So you just make sure you gouge him and then get the kick. So you can solo handle the captain. Demon Hunter also does it with Dispel because they can purge. So kick one and then they'll purge the next and then kick the next and then purge the next. So there's not a witch here. There is a witch deep in the room this week. So here's another captain guard, and I believe we pull this with the witch. Now this witch can be Vine Twister, Soul Charmer, or Rune Weaver. Vine Twister needs 2 kicks. And Rogue cannot solo handle Vine Twister. So in here, we're calling with each other. I don't have comms playing, but we're calling 2 of us around the Vine Twister, 2 of us around the captain to make it easy. Nobody needs to solo handle. We're not pulling big enough. If you proc a Soul Charmer in here, this is a situation where you should be solo taking over the captain. So Soul Charmer requires 3 kicks to get all the kicks. Her spells are less impactful than the Vine Twister, but still. Now here, I go... Do I do the distract or do I vanish for the sap? I think I distract. Yeah. So distract the pet, something only Outlaw can do. You can also handle that with ring, though. Monk can do the same thing. Then we choose to reap with the 2-pack. The 2-pack's another repeat mob. It's a guard and a captain again. I think he tags it in. Maybe he just lets it pad in. I forget how this played out. This was, what, 2 days ago? Earlier in the day, 2 days ago we did this game, I think. And I don't know why the VOD quality is low. I guess I streamed at 720. Did I change? I guess I did. I don't know. That's right. I decided to stream at 720 instead of 1080 because I don't have encoding yet. So we're not partnered. But there's not much to say about this. It's just kick the captain. Usually with the Grave Bolts, I don't think I did a very good job of kicking Grave Bolts here, but I should have been. Since we have a Demon Hunter in the group, I should have just understood that he was going to handle the captain every time, and I should have been kicking Grave Bolts. But that's fine. We'll get over it. We didn't die. but definitely something to keep in mind. So we go outside. We grab a bunch of dogs here. I sap the Thorn Shaper to make sure that these don't pull, and if these do accidentally pull, we don't get the Thorn Shaper. It's not a huge deal on bursting, because the dogs are just going to burst before Thorn Shaper anyway, but you want to try to be safe. Here, I think I asked JB if I need to cloak here. He says no, so I don't. Which means I can save cloak for future packs. Alright, now Nerf starts pulling in other shit. Actually, I don't think I expected him to start pulling this, so I fell a little behind. Thorn Shapers have a lot of casts. Let's talk about them. They cast Infected Thorns, which is a big disease debuff or damage debuff. He puts on a target chosen at random. He casts Soul Fetish, which puts Soul Fetish on the mob. When it dies, it buffs another mob that's in combat. He casts Effigy Reconstruction. Effigy Reconstruction will heal all Thorn Guards and Jagged Hounds that you're currently fighting. And he casts Uproot. All of these casts can be disrupted. They do not recast any of them. So, as Rogue, you can almost solo handle everything. It's very close. And if you have Blind available, you can handle like the first 5 or 6 casts. So you should be, in these packs, you should be making sure, like if you're fighting Jagged Hounds, Effigy should be your #1 priority, followed by Infected Thorns. And then depending on how you're planning to pull the rest of the dungeon, you want to be getting or kicking Soul Fetish as well. Usually Uproot is either let through or is AoE stunned, which we don't handle. So, but if it's a pull where you don't have to kick Effigy, because for whatever, like you're not fighting with a Thorn Guard, which I think our next pull is going to be similar to that, then you can use Disrupts on Soul Fetish and Uproot, and that helps out a lot. But Infected Thorn needs to be handled. Effigy needs to be handled if these ways. But make sure you're using Gouge, you're using Between the Eyes, you're using Blind. If you're keeping track of DRs, you can Vanish Cheap Shot as well, and obviously Kick. So typically we'll split these in two. Tank usually with me. So I think it was me and Nerf on Moon here, and I let Nerf get the first kick so that I can handle a bunch of shit in between, and by the time his kick comes back off cooldown, I'm probably out of stuff and he can handle the next, and then I can get the next couple. So just be like communicating a lot with your group in this. I think that's the biggest value of Outlaw is if you do communicate what you have available, because you have so much available, you can let the rest of your group kind of relax and cover the small holes that exist in your CC. Because there's going to be small ones here and there, like every 15, 20 seconds, there'll be casts that you just can't get. It's very important, like even if you're pugging, just like link a Discord and bring people in to talk to you while you're playing. Usually makes keys way more fun too. So we miss an Effigy there. F. That is not mine. I get this Infected Thorns. I should get the next cast on Moon with Gouge, or maybe I let Nerf have it. I probably thought Nerf was going to kick that. Alright, we are not playing this very well. There's a lot of things that could be done better here. Alright, we get that boy with kick. And now I'm just chilling. Value of Blood Oath, we all insta-torrent to get the 5 stacks of Soul Fetish off, along with Evades. Demon Hunter Dispel. Alright, we did not play that pack well. Now here, what does he do here? He does 1 with the 3 inside. Yeah, I thought he was going in the courtyard, but he's actually grabbing the 3-pack from behind. I think what happened here was I snagged... I just didn't kick the first spellbind. I don't know what's going on. I think me and Evade are sharing the Disciple while Nerf and Jay are sharing Thorn Shaper. Effigy can go off. Who cares? I guess we just all got Disciple. Just said fuck the Thorn Shaper and killed it. Okay. That's a fine strat too. If one Infected Thorn goes out, Monk can dispel that too, so that's fine. Spellbind's important to get kicks on because 1, you can't disrupt it, and 2, it silences the healer. And you would prefer to not have your healer silenced. It's probably better to have a Spellbind get kicked and let an Infected Thorn go off so that your healer can heal through it than it is to silence your healer Now here, I should be... Am I looking for one? I'm not even looking for one. Okay. Alright, I found him. Cool. So there's one maggot in each set of 3 that infests. Let me back up, just because I don't know that many people know this. Or if they do, they don't know how to tell. Alright. I'm going to pause it when I select the maggot to kick it. Alright, let's see. Cast Infest. Alright, so this buff, when you're walking into a pack, the maggot will be a little bit fatter. He's got like a weird aura on him, and he has this buff, which means he'll try to cast Infest. All the other maggots will not, and there's one per pack that does it. So as soon as, like when maggots are coming out, typically, especially if there's more than 3 maggots, I'll be like tabbing through trying to find one, and then quick put a marker on it, focus it, and be like, and just like say I have triangle or blue or X or whatever marker I put on, so that we get all these. These can also be stunned. So if it's a big pack, AoE stuns like Sweeper, Shockwave work well, but be on the lookout for it. And the rest of these mobs don't. There's nothing in particular Outlaw does good about. It's just good damage for the maggots to make sure they die. And if you get overwhelmed with spits, say you get like 3 or 4 cast on you, you can cloak them off. The peasants obviously drop 3 maggots when they spawn. I'm not sure how the communication goes here. I think this run, this pull might have ended up sketch, or maybe it was a later pull. These all snap to JB because he's on the fountain. For a future pull. No, I guess we end up okay. I just remember us letting a shitload of grave bolts go off here and being really scared. We had like a soul fetish, tormented soul at the end. Yeah, could have been played better. A lot of things in this dungeon could have been played better, it seems. Did we pull more? I think we pulled... Yeah, we pulled mini boss because we're trying to less tree. So we definitely pulled mini boss here. I'll probably skip mini boss. Mini boss doesn't really do anything. You just dodge shit on the ground. There's something that Outlaw does that makes mini boss good. Or makes us good at the mini boss. Alright. So now you have tree boss. Tree boss, you're just trying to beat the warrior on DPS, that's all. You'll see me sometimes, like, randomly when I'm feeling it. I'll pre-Blade Flurry as the Soul Thorns is going out. That doesn't allow me to hit it if I'm stunned. But I'm essentially just trying to get wit stacks on the boss. And if you can get a few, like, sometimes you can get up to, like, 9 if you have bad luck and it takes a little bit for the Soul Thorn boy to die. But if you can get some good wit stacks, it's worth the energy spent on Blade Flurry. Like, here we got... Wow. Okay, I got 7. He took a long time to die. And we all targeted him, too. Definitely make sure, if you're not cloaking, make sure you're faint vialing during the breaks when the tank runs the boss into the fire. And that should allow the healer to heal pretty much everybody else, and they can kind of ignore you through faint vial. You can keep yourself up. As well as cloak, obviously, you can keep yourself up. You'll take no damage for the majority of it. You'll take 1 tick, I believe. But other than that, there's not much to this. Like, those are the only mechanics to this boss. That was a spooky fire. We actually scuffed a 25 last night. No, we didn't scuff it, but we lost a lot of time. We scuffed later. Alright, so this boss is dead. We're ping-ponging. Next pulls will be Banquet Stewards, Waycrest Revelers, and Gorgers. Gorgers are simply the priority target. They'll charge somebody at range. Alright, you'll see me focus this. Mark that. See, exactly what I was talking about before? I 100% just said in Discord, I have triangle. Like, for certain. And then we got it with a stun anyway, so it didn't matter. Also, be careful with Gorgers. Like, if they charge out and you follow, after they retch, they'll sometimes just melee the closest target before they go back to the tank. If the tank's not ranged. So if you chase one out and then it retches immediately after it jumps, be careful of your positioning. Because you can get owned by that. You should make sure you're stunning those. Your between the eyes should always go into Gorgers. Just for the sake of, what's it called? one, making sure they die faster, and two, stuns help because they do a lot of tank damage as well. It's not just the jump. Here I am very scared. We got the kick on the lad. That was a lot of damage. But we're chilling. I don't know if I mentioned, but the piglets do absolutely nothing, and they give 0 count. Like, the pigs are just there. Which is what it is. What the heck just owned me? Oh, I think I took a melee. Also here, I don't know if I go to do it. This might be the one that I scuff. Yeah, let me see if I think this is the one I scuff, and I have to get rezzed. This is honestly the first time I've ever seen myself scuff this. But I think I was too close to the mobs when I vanished. Yeah, I just like walked back into him and died. I thought it was a bug, but looking at it now. Anyways, what I'm supposed to be doing there is tagging the boss and then vanishing to reset him. And as soon as you engage the boss, all the doors open. So, yeah, all around, I don't think anybody in here played this dungeon well. Yikes. Where's my fish, dude? Why did I hit that food buff? Banquet Stewards have a cast Dinner Bell that just silences everybody in range and does damage. 12-second cooldown. So this is one where you can kick everyone, but you have to gouge in between. It's just like the captain's. The kick is a little less impactful. But that's that. I think we roll a lot of bursting here, if I remember. And it gets spice. Yep, there's one roll. And then we roll all the way to a 6. Oh, no, we're perfect. Never mind. Oh, we did roll the 6. What? And there's reaping coming. Nah, everything's dead. It's fine. I don't think there's anything more here to talk about. Where are we at? Did we do that first to proc reaping? Okay, so we walk in, we grab some other shit. It's the same mobs again. It's Gorgers, Banquet Stewards, and Revelers. And then we go over here to proc reaping. These maggots, obviously there's 9 in here, so you should be finding 1 for infest. You see me get that one there. You kill this idiot. Wait, we didn't even reap. Maybe we're waiting for lust? I don't know, man. Oh, I know. Okay, I know what we did here. You'll see. This boss is Outlaw City. You just have constant wit stacks. You actually run out of flurries. Because you have wit stacks so often on roll. So we're just pulling this pack so that we can proc reap. And then do boss with the reap. But this is again. There's a lot of these packs where it's 1 peasant, 1 piglet, 3 to 6 maggots. Just be looking at, really all you need to worry about or think about is getting the maggot kicks here. Outlaw's not nutty here. But anyways, we pull reap into the boss. We're fighting the boss. Let's see if there's an example here that I can show. So that cast that he just did, the Rotten Expulsion, can be vanished and he won't recast. I don't know if I get targeted on the boss or if I got targeted early or whatever. But it's definitely worth to vanish that. Because like I said, you run out of flurries with all the shit that exists on this boss. Like, the Wasting Servants are enough for you to get all the wit stacks you could ever want. And do boss damage to own. And that's it. Now this is... Tenderize is a physical attack. Actually, honestly, I haven't tried to use parry on it in so long. Here, vanish. Yeah, nice. So he doesn't cast. Here, we'll back that up a second. Because that's important. There's a lot of things to vanish in the next 2 boss rooms as well. So I see it's on me. A little ding goes off. I vanish. He doesn't recast. Now we don't have to deal with those ads. Which also gives me time to rebuild flurry stacks to gain wits off these servants. Instead of having to use them on the lads. And the servants don't do anything. They're just free stacks. Whereas the lads like actually have to die. So I don't have vanish back for this one. So we have to dodge. And also, let's see if there's a good example here. You don't have to move out of these green swirlies. For whatever reason, the damage of those doesn't scale with key level, so it does Mythic 0 damage, which is basically nothing. And also tenderize, so you can evasion the tenderize. I can't remember if you can parry, which is, I should know that, but I just don't ever use it. Like I never find the need. You have way better uses of parry and evasion on this boss. Like a lot of times you'll have oozlings spawn and you don't have tricks. Like J-Funk just got owned, and he's just getting meleeed by oozlings. That's when you want parry. Using parry or evasion on tenderize is 100% a waste of the cooldown. That's a questionable. That's not questionable AR. We're doing a really small pack next. So even though it's not full value, I like that adrenaline rush use actually. So we go down here, we pull some mobs. Everything down here is stuff that you've seen before, other than the Coven Diviners and the Mark Sister and the mini bosses. But the mini bosses you don't usually do. So Thorn Shapers you handle the same way. Jagged Hounds you handle the same way. Oh shit, I have actual WoW open. That's what's going on. And then you'll be using Shroud to skip the mini boss here. If the mini boss is in a good pat, you can actually get through on this side. If the mini boss is on the far side from here, it's not. But you can actually get through just by hugging the wall and walking by the sister and the captain. Like, you don't have to Shroud. But we're a little bit behind on time. At least we think we are, but we're actually not. So we just Shroud through here. I throw a Distract for fun. It doesn't really matter. The dangerous mob down here is the Mark Sister. For whatever reason, it just demolishes the tank. So definitely be using him between the eyes on that. Like, for show. And you also should know if you're planning on chaining or not. Because if you're planning on chaining these mobs into the next mobs once the soul essences die, or once some of the mobs die, you do want to be kicking Soul Fetish. Because you don't want fetishes going into the next mobs. But if not, you can let Soul Fetish... Like, if you're going to drop combat, you can just let Soul Fetishes go off and not really care. The Mark Sister's the only mob that should own. Even that 5-stack Soul Essence, like, who cares, dude? I have Thread on it. He melees me. I'm not dead. Then Soul Charmer is 3 kicks. We talked about that before. This is one of the random witches that can spawn earlier. This is a static one, but earlier there are places where you can get a Soul Charmer. And that's that. Now, Outlaw is actually... This next boss is an insane Outlaw boss. So, there's a tank mechanic with the big guy, where you're going to see Nerf run around in fucking circles and do some wild shit. Basically, he doesn't have Spell Reflect for every one, but if he's, like, outside of melee range, the boss won't finish the cast and he'll try to recast. So he runs around in circles and gets Tiger's Listed and Speed Pots and Intercepts, like, while he's waiting for Spell Reflect cooldown, to try to get it on the boss every time. And also negate the damage. But you'll see he does some wild shit. But that Virulent Pathogen is vanishable. He won't recast. It's also cloakable, but you have to pre-cloak. Otherwise, cloak just drops the debuff and probably puts it on somebody. But if you miss and you're not paying attention or something, or you just like don't get the vanish, and it's on you, just run out of the group first and then cloak, and they'll take it off. Also, the harder part to heal is typically this first phase, because there's a lot of random ass damage from the lady boss going on top of the tank getting owned. Whereas in the second phase, it's just pure tank damage. There's no damage on anybody else. But now you see Nerf running around like a madman. He misses that one. I don't think he had the right positioning for the intercept. He didn't have somebody good to intercept to. Typically, it's the healer that handles that. Like, he tags on this side, and JB Sands is on the far side. He has Reflect for that one. The next one, he's going to run around like a madman. Come on, target me with the pathogen, dude. It's so tragic when you don't get targeted. And then when the lady boss comes down, she'll cast a kick. It's a 10-second cooldown, I want to say. Maybe 8. I think it's about 10. But you need 2 kicks. Outlaw's really good at it because you can avoid a lot of the pathogens, so you're always in melee range. And you have a longer range of kick as well. But I give the first 2 evade for Fury. Most of the time, for time, it's always better to focus Lady down. You kind of have to communicate with your tank whether or not he needs Lord to die. Because when Lord dies, he will start taking a lot less melee damage. But you can see out the value, like the strength of Outlaw's 2-target cleave. Like, let's see where I was at before the boss came down. I mean, we're doing good damage, but we're not doing like crazy good damage. And then boss comes down. I don't even have cool. Like I have a good roll, but I do not have cooldowns for this. And we're gonna spike to almost 30k very fast. And this is actually getting better in 8.2. Outlaw's two target cleave is getting buffed. Their mass AoE is getting slightly nerfed. Two target cleave is getting slightly buffed. And this is a big strength of the spec. It is like we're just ascending right now. We get a big dead shot in the flurry. Nice. And we still have not been targeted by the pathogen to finish it off. Like, come on, man. What are you doing to me? Just give me one. Just give me one. I want to see it. Do I not get targeted once? That's so tragic. Everyone I'm targeted by saves the healer a GCD. Which is either more damage or more healing. Whatever they need in that moment. Then these boys, you just like 31k on that boss, dude? That's like... Two target cleave is wild. These mobs, there's a couple spots that you can use. One is this little lip, this ledge up here that you can't really see, but the healers stand in the ledge. And they'll always try to target someone that's out of range with them, whoever's furthest, to jump to. And when the healer's in that lip, they can't figure out what to do. So they don't jump. So it's pure tank damage here. And here, if I'm good at the game, I will be switching targets frequently to try to keep one, mob health even for the sake of time, and two, to not full DR shit so I can get good between the eyes value. Yeah, I am. This one's high. I should have been targeting that one a long time ago. Yeah, always be thinking about efficiency in keys too. That's something that like you kind of pick up over time. But how do you make the pack take less time? Here we wait for my shroud. We don't want to do these two mobs. We just wait for it. Do 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 do. And then this boss Outlaw is very good because of wit stacks. The cleave damage is important too. You want to be able to target the boss, but also the ads to have the ads die on time. And Outlaw is very good at that because without losing boss damage, they do a lot of AoE. In fact, they're gaining boss damage. This kick, one melee can handle every kick on the boss. So evade takes that because Demon Hunter. And then the slavers can be... They need to be interrupted by something in order to stop the cast. So you can use stuns, you can use incapacitates, you can use knocks, so ring works. But if you don't fall behind on ads, Outlaw can get everyone with gouge. If you fall behind, they can't. So there's some overlaps where like one of them will get healed just because of the way it works if you're not focusing it down. And when that happens, you need to call for help. You can also vanish it off if it's on you, the Death Lens cast from the ads here. And that's the same as interrupting it. So that boy healed. So that means one of these I'm going to need help on. I probably call for it. I probably call that I'm getting that one and the new one somebody needs to get. Or I stun it. I might between the eyes it. That was wrong. I between the eyes even though it was cast on me. I should have vanished there. But that's really it for this boss. You just own. And that's it for Waycrest. There's like a lot of little things that Outlaw does. I think we'll go to the end to see what the damage ended up being. But I think the damage profile is the biggest. Yeah. Dude, Evade and Jay actually like pumped this dungeon. But I think I looked at it after and those boys took a lot of my pad. So this is like pure like anti-pad. And Outlaw's overall is still very high. But that's it for Waycrest. Actually, you know what? That's not it for Waycrest. One more thing. We're going to find yesterday. This is a key we did not complete in time, or we scuffed at the end. But we got top right, and I want to show we got top right 25, and we would have been in time, but we wiped on second last boss. Like, we were okay on time. I want to show this room and this stuff because we didn't see those mobs in top left. Let's skip a little past these boys. Okay. Alright, I'm turning around and running away so I don't roll the shit. So this mob, there is a witch here this week. Survivalist Outlaw can handle solo. You have to use Gouge in between casts, but you can take one solo, which is very important in the next pull. You'll see the next pull how important it is. But he does recast if you stun or Gouge, so you do eventually have to kick the Severing Serpent. But it's what, a 12? I think it's like 11 or 12 second cooldown. So you'll see me Gouge this here to push the cast back, and then my kick is up and I take it. Hello? Why do you hack? I can't watch my own VOD? You're trolling me. You're actually trolling me. Audio for this portion. Yeah, I understand. I don't care. Okay, here we go. This switch we got a Soul Charmer. I play top right so rarely, or like seriously think about top right so rarely because it's usually bad. I mean, I guess we found out that you can time top right on 25. Like, certainly is within the realm of possibility. So maybe I'll take it a little more seriously when we get top right. But I think this witch can Titan Forge, and you can get Soul Charmer, Rune Weaver, or Vine Twister. This is another random one. And then there's not a witch downstairs this week, which is thank God. We pulled this whole room in Lust. We have 2 Outlaw Rogues, so it's super easy for us to solo take a Survivalist, and then Jay and Nerf can share the other one. So I think I'm on Moon here. Or no, I'm Blue, and Yoda is... I don't know which one. One of them. Regardless. Being able to solo handle the Serpents while the other boys get their shit is very good. I mean, also, I think I do it later in the pull, but you can cloak and clear up some of these traps. Let's see if I do this. That was a Gouge into a kick. No, I guess I don't. They just cleared. But if these traps get really bad, you can cloak and just run through a bunch. Yeah, here we go. I cloak and take a few. I only took 2. I guess that was worth though. But I just wanted to show this pull really quick. This pull should... I don't know how the fuck we did this so cleanly. I was very much anticipating this to be a yikes. But it worked out okay. We did a really good job of getting kicks on the Serpents, because the Serpent does a shitload of damage. It's disease, so Monk can dispel if it goes like really wrong. But that's fine. Oh, we're pulling back in here. I'm a baked boy. And that's it. I just wanted to show that before we were done. The rest of the dungeon, there's not really anything else you would pull that really needs to be spoken about. I guess the mini boss downstairs you could pull, but Outlaw doesn't do it. There's a kick on that. Like, do a kick rotation. I think you need 2 kicks to get it, but you don't often pull that, so it doesn't really matter. And that's it for Waycrest, boys. Thank you again for checking out the video. If you like this shit, subscribe to the channel. I think you're supposed to like the video too. And also call me on my birthday to say happy birthday. And we'll have another one tomorrow, probably based on what keys we do today. We did the poll last night, and you all fucking voted Motherload, so we're never doing that again. Ever. And check me out on twitch.tv/OnDadTV. We'll be streaming tonight, probably, I don't know, a couple hours from when this gets uploaded. After like dinner time, trying to put the group together to play. And that's that. Thanks for watching. Peace.